Well, as previously as posted in 1998, in June of 1998, we, as in the Longview Police Department, did have a homicide of an infant newborn child that investigators were working. It really didn't have a whole lot of information on it, so at that point in time, the detectives and the officers did everything that they could, and which eventually led to the case going cold. Now here we are in 2025. We have much more technology capabilities and things of that nature. So we were able to utilize that with a company called Othram out of Houston, which is a DNA lab down there. They use some advanced genetic testing and technology to be able to pinpoint us down to one individual.
All right. I guess there's some kind of DNA match.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, as far as the area where this happened, do you have any more details of that? You kind of just released an intersection.
I just know it was a wooded area at that point in time. I don't really know what the area looks like now because I hadn't been over there, but that's the intersection in which that area was a wooded area at that point in time.
Okay. Has there been any kind of information or investigation going on, in between?
Well, with cold cases, we always try to see if we can pick up new traction or anything or something like that. We haven't over the years, but with this new genetic technology, we were able to utilize that. It's a grant-funded program, so we were able to utilize them to kind of help narrow down what direction to go.
Now, does it look like this person who was arrested, is she from Longview? Has she stayed in the area the whole time?
As far as I know, yeah, she's from Longview. So yeah, she's a Longview native.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed it's right there at the edge of the city limits out there. So I guess, it's got to be satisfying to get to this point.
Well, it's always, we're always wanting to solve every case that comes our way that we have to investigate. Sometimes we just don't have the information to be able to solve it, but I would hope that the citizens of Longview know that just because a case is cold does not mean that Longview PD is no longer thinking about it or no longer looking into it. Like I said, we always try to go back and revisit cases to see if we can get some new traction or sometimes even look at it from a different lens to see if that helps. And over time, it is proven that sometimes that do help. Time sometimes leads people to give information. Sometimes it don't. It very well could take 10, 15, 30 years like this case. It's just a matter of, or almost 30 years rather, it's just a matter of what we can get when we reopen it.
Now, do you have any information about, like, did it look like the baby was abandoned or?
No, I do not.
Was somehow, killed before?
I don't know the specifics of it, no.
Okay. So I guess.
And I mean, keep in mind, I am talking about a case where I was 6 years old when this happened. So this is it's a great victory for the family, but nevertheless, it was a long time ago, and I'm just glad that we were able to come to a resolution for the case and being able to arrest the suspect that was involved.
Can you release any information as to where the suspect was arrested?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. So I guess it was just a thing that sort of came to fruition.
I know the investigators were able to get name and things of that nature, which led them to find the suspect. And subsequently, after finding her, they were able to interview, do what we do there, and which eventually led to her arrest that same day.
So it looks like it was her child, I guess.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Not right now.
Do you know how old the child was, or any of those details?
All I know is that the baby was a newborn.
Okay.
So exactly what's the time frame, I don't know.
But the child wasn't newborn.
Newborn, yes.
Okay. Just real fast, going back to 1998, what were some of the initial challenges with this case?
Well, I mean, if you're dealing with an infant, you have no one to. I mean, children, they don't automatically have identifications and things of that nature. So it kind of limits on what you can do. And then also keep in mind, this is 1998. They did not have the amount of technology that we have today. I mean, even look at the amount of technology that y'all have doing your job. It's completely different compared to what it was, like I said, when I was 6 years old. So the times have changed. The technology is more advanced. It helps drastically us do our job a little bit more efficient and a little bit more effective sometimes. So we're just grateful to be able to have the technology, and yet again, to have a lab like Othram to be able to provide these services. So, you know, we're really good. We're really glad, excuse me, to have that partnership.
And you mentioned the advances in technology. Are you kind of able to walk me through how the genetic testing led to investigators finding this woman?
I really don't know the specifics of the genetic testing. Othram, however, I will gladly provide you with their media person and give you their info so you can contact them, and maybe they can provide that to you. But I don't really know all the details on how that works.
And then this woman, do we know if she has any sort of prior criminal history or anything like that?
I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about her. I can't say. I think today when I looked, she has had several arrests, but I don't know exactly what they were all for. So yeah, that's about as much as I know about her.
But you did see that she's had other run-ins with
Oh
the
yeah,
law?
she's had other arrests before. Anything else?
And again, I think you told Jamie this, but we don't really know how the baby died or anything like that.
I don't know all the specifics, no. And like I said, even though we have figured out who it is, we still have some investigating to do. There's still more to wrap the case up. But I can say yet again that I don't want people in Longview to think just because a case has gone cold that that I don't want you to feel forgotten about or think that we're not going to continue to look into it to the best of our abilities. The Longview Police Department is here to provide that level of professional policing, and with that, it comes with us using every source and resource that we have to solve cases, and I can assure you that's what we're going to try to do. So there are people who may be watching who are victims or family members of victims of current cold cases. Please know we're still doing everything that we can, and we're hoping in the future we'll be able to solve those cases the same way we've done this one.
Was there any indication in the case file maybe how long the infant had been there?
I do not know. Yeah, I have no idea.
Was there any indication as to how the Longview Police Department was initially tipped off about this body?
I don't know. Honestly, I have no clue how. I don't know how the case came up. I don't know how they found out about it. Back in 1998, all I know is that this is the case we had. We did some genetic testing. We utilized a lab down in Houston. They led us to our suspect, and we got a confession, and hey, we rocked on from there.
So what about the infant's DNA? I mean, I guess it was stored somewhere.
I'm sure that was utilized because, I mean, how else would they be able to use genetic testing without having the infant's DNA?
Do you know where the mom was arrested?
I don't.
Okay, so we don't know if it was at her home or at her job.
I don't.
Okay. And then just my last question is, you mentioned you were 6 years old when this case,
Yeah.
when this all started. I mean, how rare is it for something to be solved like almost 30 years later? I mean, because we're talking a long time.
Well, I think that this is something that this may not be the last time that you see something along these lines. And I'm not necessarily just talking about Longview PD. I'm just talking about in law enforcement in general. Like I said, we have technology now. We have access to technology now that we did not have 30 years ago. And as technology evolves, it's going to continue to help us as law enforcement be able to solve cases more efficiently, more effectively, and sometimes a little bit more quicker.
My name is Colby Lazion, Colbylassyone, and I am Chief of Staff at Othram.
Perfect. So, real quick, just some background on Othram. What do you guys do, and how do you guys help with solving these cold cases that come about? Some of them even decades back.
So, Othram works with law enforcement agencies across the United States, Canada, and beyond to help to identify John and Jane Doe's suspects in crime and also suspects in crimes where there's some DNA evidence that's left behind.
So, how exactly do you guys do that? Because I know you guys use, DNA and genetics and new technology that didn't exist decades ago. How exactly do you guys use all that technology now?
So here at Othram, we've developed something known as forensic grade genome sequencing, which allows us to take evidence, whether that evidence be very old or contaminated, or whatever the case may be, challenging evidence in many of the cases that we work, and we build DNA profiles. And these DNA profiles are then used in genealogical databases where individuals have consented to allow law enforcement to use their information to ultimately identify relatives and provide back investigative leads to investigators and solve these cases.
So you guys helped out with a case here in East Texas, out in Longview with a newborn baby, who police found almost nearly 30 years ago, in a field in a trash bag. Tell me a little bit more about that case and how you guys helped out with that.
So here at Othram, we have a project that is known as Project 525. And Project 525 seeks to identify 525 unidentified John and Jane Does in the United States who are under the age of 18. And so it is our belief, and I believe probably most people's belief, that no child should be missing or murdered without someone being held accountable because children are always overseen by a parent or a guardian. And so Project 525 seeks to remove the uncertainty and provide answers in these cases. And so this case from 1998 was submitted to Othram by the Longview Police Department as part of Project 525. And so we were able to build a DNA profile for this baby doe. And then we used that DNA profile in a forensic genetic genealogy search, and we were able to provide back leads to the investigating officers who were then subsequently able to identify and arrest the child's mother.
And so with this new technology, I mean, how exactly do you guys connect, the DNA with the Jane or John Doe that you guys find to a relative and maybe make that connection, especially in this Longview case?
So whenever you upload, let me start over. So whenever you do what we call forensic matching, that's when we take the profile of the unknown individual and match it against the genealogy databases against folks who have consented for law enforcement use. Whenever we do that, we get a list that we call a match list. And this match list includes the name and email address of individuals, as well as a value called the centimorgan value. Centimorgan value just basically tells you how much DNA is shared between the unknown person and the person that appears on your list. The greater the centimorgans shared, the more close the relationship, and the less number of centimorgans shared, the more distant the relationship. And so essentially, this match list allows us to start building family trees. And you can think of this as a puzzle, lots of puzzle pieces that are jumbled together, and there's no real photograph by which you can build your puzzle. But you piece the puzzle together using public records research and using DNA tools that eventually allow you to assemble an almost complete puzzle. And that missing puzzle piece at the end is going to be your unidentified person. And so, as you put the pieces of the puzzle together, you can start to understand who the likely identity is of this person. And then we provide that information back to law enforcement, and they continue their investigation and ultimately close it.
And so I guess what's that satisfaction or feeling whenever you guys do have that connection to the unknown individual and maybe a match that you guys found?
Look, our team is so thrilled to be involved in these cases, and we're grateful to have the opportunity to help bring answers in contemporary cases and also cold cases. It's important for these cases to be closed for victims, for their families, and also for law enforcement and society as a whole as well.
And with this Project 525, I'm doing a quick read here. You guys just started this not too long ago. What's been the feedback so far from law enforcement agencies you guys pair up with?
Yeah, we launched Project 525 on May 25th, 2024. We've identified numerous individuals under this project, and law enforcement are eager to get involved. When we reach out and we inform them that we have this project and we have a mechanism for their case to be worked at essentially no charge to the agency, they're appreciative, and this is a great example of how it took, 30 years to get to a place in which we were able to identify this baby. Othram received this case in May of 2025. That was, only 5 months ago. And so to be at a place where we're able to now have answers is remarkable.
So I see that this is part of a funding that you guys got. Where is this funding coming from, and how much is it that you guys get for doing this for law enforcement agencies?
So there's various funding sources, some of which are going to be funded through the NamUs program, and then some of the funding is coming from philanthropic efforts.
And then back with this Longview case, how long did it take from the point, Longview PD reached out to you guys to you guys making that match? How long was that process like?
So every case is different. In this particular case, we received evidence in May of 2025, and here it is September 10th, and the case has been resolved. So it took a couple of months to get through the building of the DNA profile and the working of the matches and ultimately development of new leads in the case.